Hi Modern Miss Huxtables and our Mr. Huxtables, here for another installment of our Dear Sister Project College Edition. And in this video I want to talk to you all about something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is mental health awareness and just being balanced and remaining whole. Because I'm a firm believer that there's so many factors, and I think especially in college it can just be a time that's so tumultuous. You're trying to find and discover who you are. You're maybe away from home for the first time. You're trying to learn. You have all these school obligations and pressures, and you're maybe trying to date or form friendships, or you're losing friendships, or you're trying to negotiate friendships. You're trying to keep your self-esteem high, but there's so many peer pressures. It's just can be a tumultuous period. And mental health is so important. And keeping yourself whole and intact is so important. And whether that be through spirituality, whether that be through having your own type of stress outlets, it amazes me, whether it be in college or even into adulthood, how many people don't have effective ways of releasing stress and effective ways of stress management. You cannot hold all that anxiety, that chaos, that tumultuous energy inside of you and not have a breaking point. Not have a point when you snap or something sets you over the edge and it's a wrap. You know, and whether it's using alcohol, whether it's using sex, whether it's using some other form of maybe disastrous behavior, or what would it call it, like self-destructive behavior, you have to have a way that you release. And even when I was in grad school, I mean, just how many people smoke a pack of cigarettes in a couple of days, or constantly have to be drinking or constantly have to be high just to make it through the day or to focus. And it can become very destructive behaviors that are kind of eating away at your ability to be whole and to be just sane. And it is very important in college that you get the help that you need. Many universities have, and it's part of your tuition or fees, care and counseling centers or places where you can meet with a counselor or meet with someone to talk through your issues with. And there's nothing to be ashamed of or embarrassed about when it comes to that. It is a very difficult time, and you need someone sometimes to just be a sounding board, a voice of reason, a voice of compassion, a voice of nurturing. It's important. And so even in my life now, I've made it, I train in martial arts. I'm starting to meditate in a communal environment. I'm starting to do more things that focus on creating balance in my life. Because if you don't do it, nobody's going to really honestly care. It's not like your boss is going to say, or a professor is going to say, I've noticed you seem really out of sorts. Maybe you need to do some things to help balance. Sometimes you can have somebody that's that voice of light, but a lot of times it has to come from within you. So I really am proud of my youngest sister. She's at TCU, go Horned Frogs, and she's getting involved in karate this semester and intramural football. And I mean, try to find things that are a release, whether it's exercise, whether it's you starting a club on your campus, whether it's you starting to see a therapist, whether it's you meditating, journaling, going on walks around campus, just things that are stress relievers for you and allow you a break. Sometimes you just need to decompress, and it needs to be healthy. They need to be healthy measures. And I just wanted to show this visual because I think a lot of times, I'm originally from St. Louis and I went to school in DC, and I have two younger sisters. And when I went to school, I was so green. There was just a lot of areas. St. Louis is a city where you don't really necessarily, the public transportation is very different from a city like DC. It's not necessarily an urban city like DC. There were just so many cultural, geographic things that I was not aware of, and I was just naive. I was really naive and innocent. And so the Lord had many angels on my side, because it could have gone there was a lot that I was being exposed to, and a lot that was overwhelming. I mean, learning how to use the metro system there, learning how to get from point A to point B, learning how to work a part-time job and be on campus. I worked at the Pentagon City Mall, so I was catching the metro out there, walking home at night, having dudes harass me and scream out the side of their cars. I'm walking to my dorm, I'm trying to finish a paper, I'm trying to do the, it's a lot going on all the time. There were a lot more females there than males. You know, the female to male ratio, there were like 5 girls for every guy. So wanting to have a romantic relationship or a boyfriend was kind of difficult and complicated. And I think especially for young women, you kind of get in that mentality, especially, and now it's even worse with social media, where it's like, you know, her hair is so much prettier than mine, or she gets so much more male attention, or she has much better clothes, or, you know, better makeup, and you get into this kind of self-suicide and very destructive ways of competing and comparing yourself to other people, which can be very detrimental. And I remember also, like, I went to schools that had uniform all the way up till I got to college. So I didn't really have any wardrobe because I wore a uniform. So when I got to college and I realized, especially at a place like Howard, you know, how important fashion was to people, or having a fashion sense or nice clothes, I was wearing, I remember one of my friends teased me because I had worn the same pair of jeans like 3 days in a row. I didn't know that was apparently something that wasn't cool. But I just didn't have cool, I mean, I didn't go to a high school where I was going back to school shopping and getting brand new clothes every year. So I didn't have cool clothes. I didn't know what cool clothes really were. So I'm still also, for all of you guys out there, a complete nerd. Nerd swag on 10. I'm a nerd. Too hard, love books. My room is full of books at all times. So I wasn't, you know, I don't really like to consider myself cool or part of the cool clique or popular clique. And I know even that can be really difficult to feel like college is cliquish, or you just don't fit in, or you just can't find your niche. And I just wanted to demonstrate, because I think this is how I like to think of things visually, and it helps me to process or really let things marinate. But like, if you have 2 glasses, right, and you go to college and you have all these expectations or these beliefs of how it's going to be, how you're going to be, what you're going to achieve, what you're going to accomplish, who you're going to become, whether it be in the classroom or outside of the classroom. Maybe you're going to meet somebody and fall in love, or you have all these dreams, and they're mostly based on ignorance because you haven't experienced it yet, or the unknown. You know, it's just all these expectations and thoughts that you've created, and they're most of the time pure. You know, nobody thinks I'm going to go to college and flunk out, or I'm going to go to college and meet somebody and they're going to dump me or cheat on me, and that's going to set me back, or I'm going to go to college and get addicted to drugs, or I'm going to go to college and, you know, just get in an abusive relationship, or I'm going to go to college and, you know, life happens, whatever happens, you know, my grandfather passes, or one of my parents gets really sick and I have to come back, or we can't afford it anymore. You know, nobody thinks necessarily about those things. And so I just wanted to demonstrate that very quickly, I especially feel like in college, you can have things happen to you that really are shaping and defining who you are at a time when you're really struggling to kind of create who you are already. And I mean, imagine if it's like, you know, you're going through college and somebody introduces you to drugs, or somebody introduces you to something and you try it and you end up developing an addiction or something. And suddenly that dream gets a little bit clouded, right? And then you're in school and one of your parents gets sick and you're worried about your parents at home, or you can't really focus or concentrate because you have a parent that's sick, and that adds something else. And then you get in a relationship and you fall in love and you really care about this person so deeply and so much, and you end up finding that they dump you, or they cheat on you, or they can't be committed to you the way that you want them to be committed. And that adds another layer of maybe baggage or cloudiness. And then maybe just in your first year, your freshman year, you realize that what you imagine and what you're getting is already becoming clouded, and that's creating depression, or that's creating feelings of you know, not being good enough, or low self-esteem, or low self-confidence. And that continues to be maybe added to or cloudy. And if you don't have filters, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's journaling, whether it's therapy, whether it's a physical exercise, if you don't have filters or things that can strain this out and can continue to keep you whole and keep you grounded and keep you centered, it can become really problematic. And that's in college, after college, before college, at any point in your life. If your vision, if your sense of self is getting so murky and so clouded and so dark that you can't see the light, that you can't see your worth and your purity, then you really do have to take some time to reflect and say, what can I do to correct this? What can I do to put in place to return me to my sense of being whole? and being beautiful, because God resides within each of us, no matter what your spirituality is. And you are all beautiful. You all have all the potential and purpose and light and love in the world. And so I encourage people, if you're at a point where you're overwhelmed or depressed or it's getting to be too much, please, please, please do what it takes to get yourself back centered and get yourself back whole. So please, comment below. We try so hard to be strong. We try so hard to put on a perfect face for the world. And everyone has issues. Everyone has problems. Everyone has demons that they're battling. So it's not taboo. You're not the only one. You're not alone. So please seek help. Be a help to someone else, and struggle. It's a struggle, but try to remain balanced and try to remain whole and try to remain at peace. All right? So hope that was helpful. Peace, love, and light, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.